Okay. So, but it is not coming on the YouTube. Okay. Yes, you can see. Okay. Okay, so I think let me just share the PPT with you guys and then we'll begin. Just a second. Okay. I have been given a new interface because of that. It is not Zoom actually, it is something else. Because of that, it is taking some time. I'm sharing the screen now. Why it is not coming? Window. No. Looks like I have to share the entire screen. I'm so sorry. Just a minute. I'm not able to actually share the PPT. That is the reason I need to see the interface. Just a minute. Kharagpur will take away my degree now, I think, if they come to know how bad I am with this interface. I guess I have to share the entire screen and then perhaps we'll see. Just a minute. I'm so sorry for the delay. Yes. Now I think it should be easy. Okay, I think can you see it now? Dear students, can you confirm? Can you see it now? Yes, can someone confirm? Okay. So, so apology for the delay. Regarding programs and everything, I will discuss at the end. I will request you that you please be with me for quite some time because so many important things we are going to discuss now. Regarding program, we'll discuss it later. Okay, it will also come. So let us see how we'll be going about this session. So initially we'll be talking about the paper 2025, some questions, especially from sections A. What are the learnings and insights? How we can divide? What it means for us in terms of preparation. How we can prepare those type of questions. Learnings from toppers copy. I will be showing you some of the answers from the toppers copy as well. Just to tell you that how our answers should look like. Okay, so that is something that you will be doing. Then what should be done? That is a fundamental blueprint. This blueprint is equally applicable irrespective whether you are going to enroll for any program or not. Irrespective of that, that is what I fundamentally believe you should do if you wish to get good marks in ethics. All these important areas are you talking about that you can get hold of to fetch great marks in ethics paper. And after that, you'll be discussing broadly the program, the philosophy, and why it has been working. God grace and students' hard work, why it has been working, and how we can collectively work together to improve your answers and consequently marks. And then I will take some of the questions. So let us now begin with the paper. When you talk about the paper, I would say, was a combination of conceptual question that require understanding of context, as well as the, I would say, more descriptive questions. Usually that is how I divide the questions. Questions which are of analytical type, which demands a lot of reasoning, and the questions which are more descriptive, where you need to give lots of examples, substantiate, and everything. So that is how I usually divide the question. So broadly, two types of questions are there, analytical and descriptive. And clearly, in the analytical questions, I'll be talking about that. Don't worry, with examples also. In analytical question, if we are not hitting the demand of the question, if you are not hitting the context of the question, it will be very difficult to fetch marks. And especially analytical question, only dumping examples will not fetch you marks. That is fundamental misconceptions among the people, that they understand that ethics preparation is all about a collection of definition and example. My dear student, it is not just collections of definition and example. Even if in analytical question you just dump definition examples only, you will not fetch marks because you are not hitting the context, you are not giving the argument. I will discuss that with few of the examples. And then the descriptive question. Now descriptive questions are the questions which are more straightforward, I would say, and that require content. And when you are talking about descriptive questions, I'll use some examples later on also. It requires depth and dimensions because it becomes difficult basically to segregate different answers. One of the descriptive question is that was asked in this year's paper was, I think, the relevance of teachings of Mahavir Jain, Jainism, the relevance, that how those lessons are still relevant today. Because you see, how the descriptive question in a way, because most of you would be knowing the basic tenets of Jainism. So therefore, to differentiate and to get good marks in this type of question, you need to write more number of points. Then only you will get great marks, because otherwise the initial 4, 5, 6 points everyone will be writing. So thereby that is why I've written over here that it require content, depth, and dimension. So that is what is expected of you also, my dear students. So let us try to see some of the context-based question of from this year's paper, and how you could have gone about those questions. Okay, so let us try to go through the first question. For any kind of social re-engineering, by successfully implementing welfare schemes, a civil servant must use reason and critical thinking in an ethical framework. Now, I think I would like you to take a pause and just think what you would answer in this question. Just a few seconds pause, my dear students, and then I will start a brief discussion of this question. Just, just, just see what you would have answered. बताइए, when you look at the question, what are the different segments or what are the different demands of the question? Can you type it down? Anyone, please? What is the demand of the question? Civil servant must use reason and critical thinking in an ethical framework. Probity in governance, role of civil servant. What else? See, when you look at this question, traditionally, if you look at this question, the usual perception is the question is talking about critical thinking and reasoning, sort of objectivity, that how these things should be used. But that is only one part of the question. When you look at the question, civil servant must use reasoning and critical thinking in an ethical framework. So in a way, it is also talking about limitations of this reasoning and critical thinking also, that how objectivity should not be mindlessly applied, and therefore it must be applied in an ethical framework. Because see, bureaucracy is renowned for mechanically implementing things. It is renowned for sheer objectivity that may lead to apathy also. So it is telling that they must use this reasoning and critical thinking, this objectivity, in an ethical framework, basically. Because you see, ultimately reasoning and everything, they needs to be guided by values. A very good example that I would like to give is lawyers. You see lawyers, when lawyers argue or give reasoning for their clients, yes, so when they give reasoning, so they can defend even kasab also, for that matter. All I'm trying to say is that reasoning and critical thinking can be used in an unethical fashion also, to justify wrong things also. Okay, so that is what the question is asking, that reasoning and critical thinking should be applied in an ethical framework. Ethics must guide your reasoning. Okay, because you see, the people, let's say, who are very very emotionally intelligent, I would say, the populist leaders who have this massive charismatic power over the people, they are able to persuade so many people with their reasoning, with their message and everything. But we have seen how those people, that reasoning might not actually be done in a proper ethical framework. You talk about all the advertisement for the if I can just take the example, I think we discussed in the module nudging. Nudging is a great example of that. It talks about that how reasoning and all these things must be located in an ethical framework. Ethical nudging should be done. So the point is, the civil servant must use this reasoning and critical thinking in an ethical framework. A very famous example of PDS lady, that the case study that I often use is, that in which you are the PDS officer, a poor lady has come to you, she does not have documents and everything, and she wants a ration, but she does not have the document, of course, but she is hungry, she is poor, she is old. Now a bureaucrat may simply use the reason critical thinking, that see, that lady does not have the ration and everything, and does not have the, sorry, the documents. So because of that, the benefit should not be given to that lady. But then that is not using reasoning in an ethical framework. Your reasoning, your critical perspective must be guided by an ethical framework, ethics of compassion, constitutional morality. So that is what question is saying, that reasoning should be balanced by ethical perspective. We should not mindlessly be using reasoning and critical thinking only. So basically the question is very deep. It is not just about abstractly, it is about reasoning and critical thinking. It is also talking about the limitations also, that how we should understand the limitations, and basically how reasoning and critical thinking, it's simply a tool, and how it must be used in an ethical context. I hope you understood. I hope you understood that how reasoning and critical thinking must be used in an ethical framework, because ultimately they are tool. Just like knowledge without character, yes, the people, they use different reasoning critical thinking, and they develop, let's say, biological weapons. because they are not using their reasoning and critical thinking in an ethical framework. Now, those sort of scientists. Similarly, for civil servants also, the same thing. They must not use their reasoning and critical thinking in a way. You talk about how rules have been misused. Show me the man, I will show you the rule. That kind of attitude, that is misusing the reasoning and critical thinking in a way to punish people. So that is the second layer of the question that you need to talk about is ethical framework, not just about reasoning. So I hope you would have understand. So until you understand this context, that reasoning and critical thinking have limitation, even emotional intelligence have limitations. UPSC asked this question, my dear students, that do you think EI will always emotional intelligence will always lead to ethical decision making? So it will not always lead to ethical decision making, because ultimately emotional intelligence is all about ability, and all of us know that ability can be misused also, skills can be misused also. And for those reasons, our skills of reasoning or be it emotional intelligence must be guided by ethical framework. So that is the context of this question, that everything has limitation and therefore they must be guided by ethical framework. So this is what, if you don't understand this context of limitation, it will be very difficult for you to fetch marks. This question is not just about dumping definition and examples of reasoning and critical thinking. It is about how that must be used in an ethical framework, because without this ethical framework, it may backfire and it may be misused also. So I hope you would have understood this part. Now, second question, strength of a society is not in its laws, but in morality of the people. Now, this question has been asked by UPSC so many times in different way. This interface of law and morality is very, very important, because all of us know that law talks about minimum morality in a way, because not all the things can be enforced, but morality or ethics is much, much wider. So it definitely highlights that how laws have limitations in terms of ensuring righteousness in the society. So strength of a society is not in its laws, but in morality of the people, because laws not all the time they get implemented. We talk about dowry act, for example, and dowry is illegal, right? But you talk about a societal level, that how it is widely accepted. So strength of society is not in its laws, because laws are imperfect, laws have limitations, laws may not always lead to ethical guidance, and because of that, morality is the ultimate ultimate protection with respect to unethical act. So in this question also, you need to talk about this interface of law and morality, especially in the context of limitation of laws. Not in its laws basically means limitation of law. The strength does not lie in that legal perspective, it lies in the morality of the people. Because we have seen, you talk about so many things, so many social evils, child marriage, all these things are prevailing in society, even though laws are there, but because of the morality, it is not getting implemented the way it should be. So strength of society. Now when you answer this question, a good answer will always talk about positive examples also, positive examples, reflections from diverse societies. If you remember, we used to discuss so many examples from Japanese society, Western societies. So how, so many good things we can learn from those society. Even in India also, different very good examples are there. Talk about, I think in one of the northeastern states, one image was viral, right, where you would have seen that how on a single road people are following the lane, they are not overtaking. It was a single lane, but people are not overtaking. But one line there were lot many vehicles, another line was entirely empty, still people were not overtaking. What does it highlight? It highlights the civic sense of people, it highlights morality of the people. Okay, because we do not have so many traffic inspectors to enforce the laws, limitation of laws, my dear student. So the point I'm making is, to answer these kind of questions, to understand this context, you must understand the context of this question, that limitations of laws is what being asked here, and because of that, in that context, morality also become very, very important. So I hope you would have understood this part, that how strength society not in its laws, but in the morality of its people. Now this question, those who in trouble, untroubled are, will trouble itself. I think a lot of memes have been made. UPSC, one case study and one this question, a lot of meme material UPSC is provided. So let us look at the Hindi translation. जो लोग मुसीबत में भी शांत रहते हैं, मुसीबत ही स्वयं परेशान होगी. Now clearly talks about that how equanimity, how emotional intelligence will help you, in defeating that river. That is what the question is, that how, even though you are surrounded by difficult circumstances, but if you are calm, if you are thinking, if you are exercising equanimity, that that Bhagavad Gita also talks about, that emotional intelligence also talk about, then you will find solutions. Now here you can give lot many examples of people, societies, corporates, that how in the troubled times, how they adhere to the ethical roots, ethical values, and because of that they were able to defeat the circumstances, the trouble, some circumstances that they were facing. So that is what you need to highlight. Talk about ISRO. We were facing a lot of resource crunch and everything. People were not, many of the nations, they were not giving us technology, and all these things. But what happened ultimately, because of our emphasis on frugality and innovation, we were able to do so many things. Cryogenic engine, Chandrayaan mission, at a budget that is lesser than the making of movie like Avatar also. So that is what. So when we are calm, when we are focusing on right set of values, when we are able to think clearly, then only you will be able to defeat the trouble or difficult circumstances. So again, this question require lot of thinking, how you can relate this particular code to the different parts of the syllabus, mostly Bhagavad Gita, all these things you can relate. So the thing is that these questions are testing the contextual understanding, that how you can basically relate these questions to the syllabus also. Now you see this question: to achieve holistic developmental goal, a civil servant acts as an enabler and active facilitator of growth rather than a regulator. So what specific measures will you suggest to achieve this goal? Now, before you answer this question, what measures and everything, we must understand that a civil servant plays this dual role of regulator as well as growth facilitator. And I think we have discussed there so many times that how traditionally bureaucracy have been more of a having following more of a regulatory approach, and because of this regulatory approach, they are more of a status quo in nature. We talk about this district magistrate, district collector. This the function of district collector is more of a regulator. It is a colonial post. District collector earlier, what is the responsibility of district collector? The administration in the times of British era. What are the responsibility? Only two responsibility, that you need to collect the revenue and you need to maintain the law and order. So you need not be an enabler or active facilitator of growth. You need not look at the education, health, poverty alleviation, all those things. You just need to do these two things: law and order management and collection of revenue. District collector, the post of district collector highlights that. And now you see that how that post has now changed into, because the same person is holding district magistrate also, deputy commissioner also. So the same person as a deputy commissioner, he's basically implementing so many developmental schemes. The point being that civil servant must go beyond being a regulator. I think all of you would remember this example of IRDA, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. So here you see it is not just Regulatory Authority of India, it is also Developmental Authority of India, because the people who are manning this authority, people who are manning this institution, they are here not just to regulate the insurance sector, that people should be given their dues when the claims are filed, people should not be mistreated, insurance companies should not commit fraud. That is regulatory aspect. But they also have developmental role, developmental and regulatory authority. So what do we mean by this developmental role? Because we know that how poor penetration of insurance is there in our country. Many of us also do not have insurance penetration. So for that reason, how they must be a facilitator of growth, how they must enhance the penetration of insurance in this context. So basically, civil servant must not just be a regulator, that we are here just to mechanically implement rules and regulation. No, it is one part of the job. You have to be an active facilitator of growth. Thereby, you try to improve ease on doing business, you try to have citizen-centric administration, you try to remove poverty, you try local solutions. So many civil servants have tried local solutions, specific solutions. I think so many people in Kerala, you would say the Operation Soleimani, so many examples, crowdfunding model of Armstrong Payne. Basically, so many people have tried local solutions to the local problem. So those people are acting as enabler and active facilitator of growth rather than being a regulator. Because you see, Armstrong Payne could have said, see, we do not have funds, how can I build the road? That would have been a regulatory approach. But an active facilitator of growth means that you need to take extra efforts, you need to go beyond doing the minimum. So on that note, this question is basically based: a civil servant must be an active enabler and facilitator of growth rather than just being a regulator. Although regulation is also very important, I mean, we cannot do without regulation also, but that is another aspect. But until unless you understand this context of regulatory versus developmental mindset, you will not be able to answer this question very well. So therefore, again, context based question, until unless you understand this, very very difficult to get marks. I hope you understood this. Yes, dedication to public service is what is being asked in this question. Similarly, next question: war is a diplomacy by other means. Critically analyze a statement in the present context of contemporary geopolitical conflict. Now you talk about this question: war is a diplomacy by other means. Now Operation Sindhu just happened, right? And where we took some actions. So it is saying that diplomacy is not always about soft thing. At times you need to take certain measures, and in those measures also act like diplomacy only. Some coercive elements are also required. And a perfect example of just war theory, that how I think all of you would remember that Operation Sindoor, in that context I talked about that how responsible warfare is something that is very very important. Government even highlighted this part, responsible warfare, in his press briefing on Operation Sindoor. And I told you that how responsible warfare is a very very important term, that when you are indulging in warfare, you need to be responsible, because war is also an element of diplomacy by other means. Because you see, you talk about Ramayana, you talk about Mahabharata, we have seen wars. Without these wars, you wouldn't have got justice. You talk about 1971 war, in which about independence. Without war, we wouldn't have got justice. So the point is, war is a diplomacy by other means. At times, you need to use war as a tool of peace, tool of justice. So in that context, question is based, and here you need to give some argument from just war theory. You can give some other argument also from different side, that how people who mindlessly follow war, how they are also wrong in a way. Talk about Machiavellian principle, how all the time they are talking about this realism only. So it is not just about realism, it is about moral realism, that how basically war should also be following certain ethical guidelines. Basically, just war principles we need to highlight here. Diplomacy by other means. So I hope you understood. The context of this question is that war at times is necessary, and these are ethical principles that should be followed. Mindless war is always wrong, and there you can give the example of so many nations which are basically not following the just war principles in their real political. Yes, understood. So, war is a diplomacy. I think please keep on writing. I'm looking at the chat also. Yeah, so you can talk about that, how just war principles needs to be upheld. So, again, when you're answering this question, again, to layer, you need to justify how war is important. You can very well give the example of Operation Sindoor and other measures that were taken by India also, 1971 war, Kargil war, all those things you can give example, and then you can also give the example of principle that we should follow, and then how, if we are not following the principles, how it can threaten the world also. Okay, the Machiavellian ethics, that also you can talk about. So basically, the very broad questions again require very good understanding of contemporary geopolitical conflict, so that you can highlight all these dilemmas in your answer. So without this context, again, your answer will only be example only. Just imagine if someone is dumping only example, 1971 war, Mahabharata war, just example, Ramayana war, just example, Kargil war, just example, Operation Sindhu, only example, without argument. Can you imagine what kind of answer it will look? So basically, we need to give argument also, not just example. Argument, then example, that why war may be necessary in certain measures, how it should be a measure of last resort and everything. That is just our theory only. So all those principles you need to highlight as argument, and I'm sure you will fetch great marks in this question. Okay, yes, points basically allow you to write more number of points. That is why points become important. Now let us look at the next question. Again, context become important, that one who is devoted to one's duty attains highest perfection in life. Analyze statement with respect to sense of responsibility and personal fulfillment. Personal fulfillment. I think Yoga Karmshulu highlights brilliantly this aspect, that how we should be devoted to our duty to attain highest perfection in a life. Yoga Karmshulu Kaushalam. Yoga is basically pursuing excellence in our actions. That when you are pursuing that excellence, that perfection in our actions, automatically you attain a yogic state. Automatically there is a more personal fulfillment and sense of responsibility also. So you can talk about that philosophy from Gita here. Okay, and you can also talk about that how that philosophy will allow you to live your life with a sense of fulfillment also. I think we discussed that how civil services is not just a career, it is a vocation for people, it is a way of life of people. थोड़ा समझने का प्रयास करिए इसको कि मैं क्या बोलना चाह रहा हूं यहाँ पे, वोकेशन, वे ऑफ लाइफ. देखिए क्या होता है कि कुछ लोग जॉब करते हैं, when they do their job, what they do, they will go to office, they will do their job and they will come back. Okay, for them it is simply a job. So for them it is just a career. But for some people, they are driven by higher order purpose. TN session, E-Shridharan, so many examples we are having. So when they are driven by such higher order purpose, so when they go to office or whenever they are indulging in the discharge of their duty, they have this sense of responsibility. They go beyond doing minimum. They're dedicated to public service, and because of which they attain highest satisfaction. They are devoted. For them, it becomes their way of life. Way of life basically means the attitude is like that we have to do our best in serving people and we have to attain highest perfection in life. And when you do that, of course, you would like to elevate your skills also. Mission Karma Yogi also you can quote here. You would like to, elevate your character also. And because of that, it will be a personal fulfillment. Because you see, suppose I'm a teacher, there's no suppose, I am a teacher now. So suppose apply this to me, that suppose I want to become the best teacher in the country, highest perfection in teaching life. Then can you imagine to attain that highest perfection in teaching life, I also need to be disciplined. I also need to, rigorously follow my routine. I need to study a lot and everything. So can you see, I need to take on criticism also. I need to learn from criticism also. So can you see how it teaching me humility, how it is teaching me perseverance. So can you see, when you are trying to achieve highest perfection in life, it is automatically inculcating in you virtues. Yes, my dear student, this question is also about virtues. So that your virtue ethics also tells you that when you strive to basically inculcate virtues, I think one of the Greek thinker talks about that the unity of virtue is there. You strive for one virtue, all the virtue will be there. So that is what, when you try to be when you try to have this highest perfection in life, there will be a sense of personal fulfillment. Higher order purpose will be fulfilled. Your job will not just be a job, it will be a way of life. You will be servicing people, you will derive immense kind of satisfaction from that. So this question is about, you can also relate our fundamental duty here, Article 51. You can also talk about that, how it also talks about that how we need to strive for excellence, sense of responsibility, because as individual, all of us have responsibility to strive for excellence, sense of responsibility. You can relate with that. So again, a question that basically is an amalgamation of so many concepts, virtue ethics, Bhagavad Gita, fundamental duties, so many things, higher order purpose in the life, not just lower order purpose, or you can also quote Bentham here, Mill here, that how you need to have more qualitative pleasure in your life rather than quantitative pleasure. That also you can quote. So I hope you would understand this question, that how in order to answer qualitatively in this question, you need to amalgamate so many points from different parts of the syllabus. So I think this thing is very much clear by now, that when you are looking at such conceptual questions, understanding become very, very important, because if we are not hitting the context, we will not get marks. That is what we need to understand. Okay, because we are only dumping definition example. If you are not in the context of regulatory versus development attitude, if you're not highlighting a limitation of regulatory mindset and how in that context developmental mindset is also important, if you're not highlighting in the context of objectivity, critical thinking, that how critical thinking and everything is merely a tool, merely an ability, and it can be misused also, and therefore you need ethical framework. So until you are highlighting that limitation, you will not get marks, because examiner will not understand that you have understood the question properly. You are simply dumping definition example. So that is why it is important that we must hit the context and must strive for conceptual clarity. Another important aspect, dear student, is that we must practice analytical questions. See, a lot many test series here and there, I've seen when you come to me for answers and feedback at times, see, unfortunately, the best, I would say, best questions to test yourself would be UPSC PYQ, but you don't do that. You try questions here and there. And unfortunately, in many of the test series here and there, you would find that analytical questions are not there. Questions are more in a nature of descriptive. Descriptive questions are basically those questions which you can answer from memory. Okay, so what happened when you answer those questions very well while practicing, you will get marks also, and you think ethics is done. In the test series I am getting 110, 120, 140 also. So that is what you would feel, that because analytical questions are not there, you are simply practicing on descriptive question. From memory you are writing, not from analysis, and therefore that ability is not developed because the way you are practiced on those questions. Therefore it will be my request to you that you please focus on analytical questions. You practice analytical questions. That will enable, because that is where the unlock is there. That is how you can differentiate your answers from rest of the people. Focus on analytical questions. Go through PYQs. Even in test series, if you're attending here and there, stress lot on analytical questions. Try to address and practice analytical question, and you will become better once you practice them. Okay, so ultimately I think it is pretty much clear that content accumulation strategy will not work here. Many of you come to me, sir, ethics ke liye kya padhe here and there. Ethics is not just about content, it is more about clarity. Okay, so we must know that how to apply this content. So clarity become very, very important in this context. So now let us see applications based question. Okay, in a way, descriptive questions, they are basically descriptive questions that I am saying. Everything is application based, but in a way they are descriptive questions. So I think descriptive question, I think I did not write it properly. It is descriptive questions. Okay, so it is descriptive questions, not application based in a way. So descriptive questions are basically, I would say, you look at this question. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude. So basically here you just need to give a lot of arguments and example that how people by altering his attitude, how they were able to transform their life. You talk about Stephen Hawking, you talk about Japan, how that society without resources, facing so many natural disasters, and how that country, after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, after all those things, how that country is shining like anything. So you give that example of attitude here. Stephen Hawking, great scientist, all of us know that how many problems he was facing physically, but that he did not allow them to be in his way. So basically we have so many examples here. So attitude become important. But in this question, similarly, the next question, what are the major teachings of Mahavir? Explain their relevance in contemporary world. You just need to remember the major teachings of Mahavir. All of you would remember that, and then you talk about the relevance. See, these questions, I would say, of course, you need to write quite a good number of points here, but they are more descriptive question. So in descriptive question, the more number of points will be the differentiator, because see, many people can write this attitude example that this person changes attitude, and because of that things changed for him, organization and everything. Similarly for Mahavir also. Similarly for next question, value based, compliance based work culture also. So in all these questions, it is not just about the demand of the question. Most of you will address the demand of the question. The questions are not that difficult. It is more about depth and dimensions in this question, that how you can highlight different dimensions of the question. For example, in this value based and compliance based work culture, how many different dimensions of work culture you can open. Work culture, when you are addressing this work culture, are you speaking about leadership? Are you speaking about motivation? Are you speaking about communication? Are you speaking about conflict resolution? Okay, can you see? Are you speaking about technology? I mean, can you see how different aspects of work culture I am speaking? And using that template, you can basically generate more number of points, more specific point. Otherwise, you will be simply writing the value based, compliance based. This is what we need to do. I would say break down the term. Use a template and break down the term. So when you break down the term, it will allow you to generate more number of points in a very limited period of time, and that too systematically. So therefore, value-based and compliance with work culture, break down the term work culture here. Understood? So this is what my suggestion to you would be in descriptive questions. That in descriptive questions, please do focus on depth and dimensions. Do quote a lot of case studies and positive examples. And it will help you in differentiating your answers from others, because here it become important. Similarly, this question: what would you recommend for ensuring accountability, because funds remain either underutilized or misutilized? This theme was very important. I think we spoke about it quite number of time. So underutilization and misutilization of fund. So what would you recommend? So when you give your recommendation, what is here? See, All of you can give recommendation. Okay, all of you can give a recommendation for ensuring accountability. Same thing, RTI, social audit, and everything, citizen charter. All of you, I think, can talk about that. But my dear student, if all of you can talk about that, how you differentiate your answers? That is where you need to understand the importance of depth and dimensions. Here, the differentiator would be that how many different accountability mechanism at macro level you are suggesting, not at micro level, macro level. So macro perspective become important here. Okay, that is one thing. Another important thing is case studies, specific case study you need to highlight for each of those things. And when all both the things will be there in your answer, automatically you will gain more number of marks as compared to your competitors, because not many people will be going to details. You talk about citizen report card, you talk about technology, so many things basically. So broadness of the measures are more important here rather than some of the measures, because many of you are talking about similar things only. So this is what you can learn from this, that how we have to diversify our answer in descriptive questions. Okay, so that is why depth and dimensions matter more in this kind of question, and we have to prepare themes beforehand, because you see, you cannot generate n number of points in limited amount of time. Okay, and for that you must have these templates on your own. You generate template, you learn how to decipher a particular question, how to break down a particular term in different dimension, and that will help you in actual exam condition to generate more number of points in limited amount of time. And you prepare themes beforehand, and I will show you this thing, preparation of themes beforehand, how it can help you. I will just show you. Pardon me for showing you the clip, but it is important that we need to prepare themes beforehand, because we cannot generate more number of points in limited time if you are not prepared, especially in descriptive questions. Because kya hota hai na, so let's say I give you a question, citizen charter. So if I give you a question on citizen charter, what will happen? In the citizen charter question, most of you will be writing the common point. How will examiner differentiate that? Think on this. So the easy questions are in fact more difficult to score, because differentiation become difficult in those questions, and because of that we must prepare themes and templates beforehand. Okay, so let us see some of the learnings from toppers copy, that a good answer, what kind of a good answer should be there. Let us try to see certain things from toppers copy. So I think that is the copy of Nandana. Uh, I think you cannot see it, or you can see it. She got rank 47 this year, I think, with 127 marks in ethics this year. Why I'm showing her answer script is we'll try to learn something from this answer script. Why I'm showing, because she prepared ethics for the first time between prelims and mains. That is what she told herself in one of the Zoom session with me, that is available on this YouTube channel only, that you can see. She was enrolled in the ethics module, and you look at the answer. You look at the answer. First question: role of intellectual integrity in administrative decision making. You see, is she only dumping example or argument with example? That is what I want you to understand. See, helps to maintain public trust in administration, argument then example, argument then example, argument then example. Can you see? It is not just dumping of example, it is argument plus example. Similarly, you talk about Fitgen charter. You see, role of Fitgen charter, argument, example, argument, example, argument, example. So that is what we need to learn. And you see the number of points he's generating. Okay, there are two questions in first question itself. Because of that, it may not look more, but there are a lot many points that she has generated. Let us try to see another question. Tolerance. Let us try to see that tolerance, what is the importance of tolerance for governance, and how civil servants can foster a culture of tolerance. See how she's highlighting. She look at the introduction. Tolerance refers to permissible attitude. She's hitting the core keyword of the tolerance, that it is an attitude, permissible attitude, in the introduction. And how it is importance of tolerance, how she's dividing the answer, how she's giving argument then example. Just look at, perhaps I will give you certain time to read this, and then you will understand better. Similarly, look here. Can you see at broader level how she is able to diversify the points and give argument and then example? That is what we can learn. That is what we can learn from her answer script, that her answers are replete with lots of value additions, examples, case studies, argument, dimensions, arguments, plus examples, everything, introduction, conclusion, everything. And no wonder she got 128 marks. So that is very first mains. That is what we can learn from her answer script. Similarly, let us try to see the answer script of Ayushi Bansal also. Now, Ayushi Bansal, she was also my student. She got rank 7 last year. She got 132 marks. You see, Ayushi Bansal. You see, Frisian Charter. You look at how she is quoting lot of case studies. See, a very good definition, example. Then, what is the role of Frisian Charter in good governance? She's giving argument and sort of accountability, then case study, argument, then case study, argument, then case study. Very, very important. Now, in this question, I had asked that how family as an institution for value inculcation can complement education institution. So I asked in this question, the question was compare and contrast family and education institutions in terms of value inculcation. And you see how she highlighted similarity and then differences. How she's quoting Jijabai, Aristotle, Gokhale, and everything. How she's quoting example, not just argument, argument plus examples. And the kind of depth, kind of number of points she's generating. Look at the number of points in the first page itself, this page, and that is the second page. Look at the number of points. Why she wouldn't get marks? You tell me. You see how these two institutions are complement. You see. So it is your ability to generate more number of points in less amount of time and to express yourself in fewer words. That is also important, because you see, if I give you time 15 minutes to write, you can write very good answer, but it is about 7 minutes. How we need to write a best quality answer, more number of points, all value addition, everything in 7 minutes, that is the challenge. The same tolerance question is here also, which I showed you from Nandana's copy. Importance of tolerance for governance. You see, argument, example, argument, example, argument, example. Here also, how civil servant can foster, then again, argument, then example. Nukkad Natak and everything she's quoting. Can you see how she's able to generate more number of points with value addition and with good number of arguments? Entire script is like that only, you can see. And she got 132 marks. So this is what I want to highlight, my dear students, that should be our barometer, that our answer should reach that level. What we can do for that, I will discuss that in blueprint. That blueprint is equally applicable. If you want to join program, fine. If you don't want to join program, then also it is fine. But you must follow that blueprint. I will discuss that blueprint in another 10-12 minutes. I will discuss that what you can do. But this is where we need to go. Our answer should match this quality. Not now, but with consistent practice, you will reach there. I hope you understood. So what are the learnings from Topper's copy? Topper's copy talks about that it is not just definition example, it is argument also. Topper's copy says they generate more number of points in limited amount of time. The same amount of time they generate more number of points because of consistent practice, because of templates, because of framework that they are having. That's how frameworks will help you in generating more number of point, my dear students. Understood? And that is why the Topper's copies are important. Now, before we discuss the blueprint that you can follow on your own also, let us try to see something that how ethics module that we had recently, I was talking about that how you need to prepare themes beforehand and how it can help you in, scoring high in paper, because you can almost, you are almost prepared on the question beforehand. 12 out of 13 questions can be thoroughly solved from our module. Okay, just allow me 2 minutes. I know you may not like it, but just allow me 2 minutes and go through it to understand that why it is important to prepare things beforehand. Then only you can generate that kind of quality in the answer. Otherwise, in 7 minutes, it will be very, very difficult. Please, have patience and go through 2 minutes only. Just listen to this.
Example of underutilization of fund. Utilization of fund is a theme that is due for this year, I believe, because for so many years it has not been asked by UPSC. That's why a lot of case study we are preparing. Utilization of public fund. This is a topic. We'll discuss that in coming classes. It reflects a potential topic of this year, have not been asked by UPSC in last 3 to 4 years. That is utilization of public fund. We will.
So this theme I talked about very often.
They were having this regulative approach all the time that we have to mechanically implement the thing. The bureaucracy, which is more developmental oriented, not just fulfilling their regulative role. We discussed compliance-based work culture. So while compliance-based work culture in governance emphasize adherence to rules and regulations to avoid penalties, value-driven cultures prioritize ethical principles. Attitude of getting things done. Attitude. So that's what your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. Your attitude, not your aptitude. It means that even though you have good aptitude, you may not achieve much because of poor attitude. Example of Virod Kambli we all know. So this interface is very, very important. Law versus ethics basically reflect that our society is basically bereft of values. And that is why many crises that we are seeing in society have moral dimensions. That is what Socrates said. This method is all about promoting scientific temper, rationality, critical thinking. Now, in this line is there in the government brief. I went through that to highlight some important. This line of responsible warfare. Use that line. Your intention highlights commitment to responsible warfare. Media was also a great theme this year. Media. Technological ethics, last year UPSC focused a lot. Technological ethics. This year, media, influencers, that will become great important theme for this. Yoga Karmshulu Kaushalam means that yoga is nothing but excellence in what you are doing. Karmshulu Kaushalam. Kaushalam means excellence. It's a nuanced concept. And a question can be asked on itself. Yoga Karmshulu Kaushalam. And it has great meaning and relevance for governance.
So now I think you can just see it yourself also that when you prepare these themes beforehand, it allows you to generate more number of points in limited time. So that is why, I emphasize all the time that you can go through PYQs and you will also realize that these themes are more important for this year. On your own also, you can do that analysis and you will understand that how certain themes become important for certain years. And because of that, you will be in a position to write, a qualitative answer in those 7 minutes, because otherwise very, very difficult. And these are some of the purest form of testimonials. I call them purest form of testimonials simply because, the students, when they're writing this testimonial, they are very happy. Can you see enjoyed writing? Maja aa gaya. The point is that they enjoyed writing, and that is what I want to see, that you should enjoy when you are writing the paper. And that is the purest form of testimonial, because you don't know your marks yet, your rank yet. And every year I'm blessed, with the hard work of students. They send me all these important, messages that basically motivates me to work harder. And that is what, because when you work hard in advance, that is how it can help you. And it is not just recently every year when I say Srivastava also sent me similar message. You look at his message from 17 September, he got rank 1 that year. Okay, sir, that hopefully better gaya paper. He was very, very happy. 17 September, similar message I get every year, because these students are very, very happy. Arjun Gupta, rank 32, again messaged me, can you see best result for the remaining paper on the right hand side? The point is that you should be so much devoted to your preparation that you can do all these things, so well that while you are writing the answer, you already know that you are writing one of the best answer, and of course, God will reward you. Okay, so that is the attitude of preparation that we should have. So now let us talk about the blueprint, that what should be done. Okay, ultimately, what should be done, and it is equally important. I want you to listen to me very, very carefully now, that what should be done. Equally important, whether you are joining the course, not joining the course, does not matter. But this is what my understanding says that you should do. See, ethics, if you wish to get great marks in ethics, focus on first pillar. All the pillars I will explain one by one. First pillar, clarity. I think At least 7 to 8 questions are like every year, which require absolute conceptual clarity. You will not even understand the meaning of the question, if you do not have conceptual clarity. So you should focus on. Last year UPSC asked this question, that in law man is guilty when he violates the rights of other. In ethics he is guilty when he even think of doing so. So until you understand that Kant is talking about respect for moral law here, it will be very very difficult for you to write answer to this quotation. So until and unless we have this clarity, it will be difficult. So focus on conceptual clarity. Don't rectify thing, with both hands folded. I am requesting you, do not take this subject like other 3GS paper. This is not the subject to rectify. Your marks will not go beyond 100. I am telling you, with all the rectification, 100, 104, that is the maximum you will get, because you will not understand meaning and the different layers of the question. The way we are deciphering different layers of the question earlier, you will not be able to do that in the actual answer. Depth will not come in the answer. Have conceptual clarity. Master syllabus interlinkages. When you have clarity, it will help you in mastering syllabus interlinkages. My dear students, interlinkages are very very important. They tell examiner that how greatly you have understood the concept, how you know how to apply this concept here and there. You talk about emotional intelligence and integrity. A person who wants to be integral, who wants to exercise integrity in character, he also needs to be emotional intelligence, because you see, because all the vices are there, all the desires are there, you need to control them. You need to control your emotions. You need to delay the gratification. You cannot behave like the pig who is driven by lower order of desires. So link the concept emotional intelligence and integrity. Allegory of cave, he talked about Plato. He talked about how ignorance can lead to so many things, and it can very much be related to fake news. It can very much be related to how misinformation can wreak havoc in present world. Global risk report also highlighted that. The point is, master syllabus interlinkages, master the theoretical concepts and how you can apply them in the answer. Always do that. Maybe initially you will do wrong. That is absolutely fine, but that is how you learn. So, but you must not shy away from doing that. Try to interlink, discuss with your friends and everything, and then you will improve. So have conceptual clarity and strive for syllabus interlinkages. Syllabus interlinkages will take your answer to a different level altogether. I am telling you, because not many people are able to do that syllabus interlinkages. Okay, so conceptual clarity is very very important, sine qua non. Without that, you cannot expect 130 or 140 marks in ethics paper. It will not be done, because you will not even understand the question. Theme समझ में नहीं आएगी आपको. Now, content. Of course, having said that, content is also important, because as we discuss in descriptive question, suppose I give you a question, how citizen charter will help in good governance? All of you can write the answer, but then how I will decide that this person deserves 6 marks, this person deserves 4 marks? How? Depth and dimension. And for that depth and dimension, multi-dimensionality is become important. Okay, I think we discussed the example of strength of society. You give the example of Japanese society, Western societies, different societies, and how interface of law and ethics is carrying out. So when you give different example, urban society, rural society, you are telling the examiner that see how you can analyze the phenomenon from multiple perspective. You will give that perspective to examiner. So always try to gather multi-dimensional example. Always try to see things from multi-dimensional perspective. Do not have this unital perspective, because in content-oriented question, in descriptive questions, that is what will differentiate your answer. This multi-dimensionalness, this depth and dimension. So focus on that, and for that purpose, prepare themes beforehand. In exam, you cannot just एक्सपेक्ट कि एग्जाम में तो मैं लिख दूंगा 2 पेज बहुत बढ़िया भर दूंगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है भाई. तो अभी आप प्रिपेयर करिए, पीवाईक्यू के बेसिस पे आप नेक्स्ट ईयर की तैयारी करिए कि नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए which themes are more important. Prepare them beforehand and have that content already with multi-dimensional examples, and then you will be in a position to use them also in the examination hall. Then current age is also very important, because see, because lot many examples from ethics, they are very common examples nowadays. Everyone using those examples. So we need to go in a bit more depth with respect to those examples, and in that context, current affairs will come to your rescue. You must give examples from current affairs. So when you give example from current affair, from the recent happening, I am telling you, Any examiner will be happy. You will be happy if you will be evaluating someone's copy, because then you will see how the candidate is able to apply the theoretical understanding with the practical aspect of the world. And I'm telling you, current affair example will push your score like anything. So always have an eye to collect current affairs example. Powerful conclusion. In ethics, conclusions are very, very important. Why? Why conclusions are important? Because ethics is about judgment. Ethics is about that what is the overall feeling, what is the overall judgment you are saying, and after conclusion, examiner will give you marks. So you must try to end your answer on a very high note. For that also, you must prepare conclusion beforehand. Some ready-made conclusion, different templates you can prepare, and that will help you in writing very powerful conclusion in the examination. So content you prepare theme wise, multidimensionality you ensure. You must ensure current affairs, must ensure current affair examples, and powerful conclusion. This will create a lot of differentiation in the answer. Now let us come to the third pillar. The third pillar is application. See, having knowledge is one thing, application is different thing. Because it just happened that regarding ethics, all of us know things, but when it comes to writing answers, we may not be able to write that well. I showed you some copies, toppers copy. At this point of time, your answers may not be up to that level, but don't worry, all these toppers are also beginner at one point of time. So focus on application, focus on breaking the question, focus on seeing the hidden dimensions of the question, focus on identifying layers of the question. Development, regulatory, the limitation of regulation should come into the picture, then development, that sort of way. Law versus ethics, limitation of law, ethics will come into the picture. That critical thinking, so talk about how ethics is required when you are going for critical thinking, and how without ethics, reasoning and critical thinking will backfire. Knowledge without character will happen. So that saying is also there: education without values will make a man more clever devil. Same thing only, because you will only learn argument, you will only learn reasoning only, but without ethical framework. So the point, this is what I'm trying to tell you, that you must learn how to break the question. So always try to break the question in parts and subparts, and choose these parts and subparts from the questions only, question heading only, and try to address these parts and subpart in a proportionate fashion in the answer. Depending upon the keyword, critically analyze, evaluate, you can elaborate on one part more than any other part. But try to break the question. Don't try to address the question in one go. You will not be able to generate that dimension. Did you see the toppers' answers? They were also generating parts and some part. They were also writing heading and subheading. It basically gives structure to your answer and allow the reader also to read your answer, in a very, I would say, easy manner, and anyone can see how much depth you have generated through those heading and subheading. That is one thing. Always prepare answer writing templates, because as I discussed, it will be very, very difficult for you to generate more number of points in limited amount of time until you know how to think. Focus on how to think. You can generate your own templates, not temple. You can generate your own template. For example, let's say you are going for you're going for questions, and you see that these kind of questions perhaps I can tackle through that kind of template. This is what I want you to do. You prepare those templates for yourself, that these kind of questions can be tackled better by these kind of template. That is how you can go for more number of dimension. Always prepare that, otherwise will be very difficult to generate more number of dimension. Then analytical diagram. We are not talking about hub and spoke diagram. एक गोला बनाया और point फेंक दिए. No, that is not that. But analytical diagram. Analytical diagram basically means that reveals some analysis, that gives some reasoning, that gives some perspective. Analytical diagrams, okay, focus on them. Not descriptive diagram, analytical diagram. Time management, because ethics paper is very, very lengthy, so time management becomes very, very important. So application, write, and start with PYQ. Without PYQ, you will not go anywhere. Start with PYQ. Only when you are done with PYQ, you go for any other test series. Without solving PYQ, any coaching, any test series, I don't know, without PYQ, you should not attempt all those things. Those things comes later. PYQs come first. So please solve PYQ. In my program, this module also, I think 70 to 80% questions are PYQs only. Because of that reason, I discuss not many PYQs, and master PYQs. If you just ask me that what may be one important reason for the success of so many toppers, I think that is one of the important reasons. that we cover a lot of important PYQ themes that you can also do on your own if you wish to do that. You saw that through that reel also, that how you can prepare many important things beforehand in the examination, solve PYQ. Then last important pillar, focus on improvement. See, I have seen so many hardworking students, that they are writing answers on a daily basis, putting all the hard work, discipline, but they believe that only writing answers will lead to improvement. No, my dear students, that is not the case. It is very unfortunate, but your hard work, your hard labor must meet smart work. You must understand the improvement also. Suppose I'm a batsman and I'm playing the pull shot in a wrong manner. Does not matter even if I play that shot 1,000 times. If I'm playing it in a wrong fashion, it will still be a wrong shot only. So someone should tell me that no, this is wrong. So no, I'm not saying that you join my course. I'm just saying, and this is the mistake that many people commit, that they don't seek help. With folded hands, I'm telling you, not telling you with full disclaimer, don't join my course. I'm not talking about that, but seek help, because your hard work will go down the drain if you don't know what are the problems. When I say seek help from the people. The people in your circle who are selected candidates, who have got good marks in ethics, your seniors. Worthy basically means who have scored well in this paper. Seek help from them, seek feedback from them, until you know what to improve, until you know how to improve. All the hard work will go down the drain. My another request to you will be, focus on improvement. And for improvement, you can always refer to toppers copies, but with caution. Why caution? Because toppers copies also have mistakes. You don't know that when those copies were written, when those answers were written, and what kind of feedback they got on their answers and how they improved after that. So toppers copies are important barometer, but even they have some limitation. In the Nandana's copies also, Aishu Bansal's copies also, I first had some improvement to them also. So toppers copy you should follow with caution. Apply your due diligence, apply critical thinking, apply whether this thing is right or wrong. If your common sense says it is wrong, don't follow that. It is very simple. Toppers copies with caution. So toppers copies become very important template for you to follow. You can evaluate your answer. You can write the same question. The toppers copy, you see the toppers copy, for example, the same copy that I just showed you, and you write the answer to that question and see how you are doing, how far you are from that answer, how you can think in those dimensions. That is how you improve on your own. So you need to give a lot of time on this improvement aspect. It is not just about hard labor, it is also about smart work, where you give time on thinking this part, that how I can improve, what are the mistakes, and more importantly, how I can think like topper. Focus on that how I could have thought these dimensions in the examination hall. If you crack that, you will be through this examination. I'm telling you, focus more on that thinking. Okay, so that how you could have thought. So these are the four important pillars, four important the blueprint that I would say all of you should follow for ethics. It is not just about content, clarity, templates, dimensions, conclusion, everything, and improvement. All these things you must focus, and I'm sure you will improve a great deal. And I can. I can see the comments. I will see them at the end of the lecture also, when I address your questions. Okay, so now let us talk about some of the important features of the program, and then I will take some of the important questions. Please just stay tuned, because you can also learn something from this program features that you can also implement on your own. Okay, even if you are not joining, absolutely fine, but you can learn something from here. I will show you. Okay, for that reason, I have taken some screenshot from my classes and I want to show it to you. So please stay tuned. For this program last year, 11 ranks were in top 100 from a single session ethics module. Okay, from last year. And let us try to see the methodology. After methodology, I will show you that how you can also do certain things on your own. Okay, that is what also I will focus upon. So all those who wish to join the program or have any doubt about the program, please listen to me very carefully, because that is the methodology I have been following. There is a reason I do not conduct ethics test series exclusively. There is a reason. Okay, and that reason I will explain through this methodology. It has been working for so many years for so many toppers, by God grace and students' hard work. So let us try to see. As we have discussed, ethics is not just about content, it is about conceptual clarity. So in phase one, we will be focusing a lot on conceptual clarity. Every week there will be 3 classes: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I will be covering the entire ethics syllabus from basic to advanced. If you have not studied ethics, does not matter, you can join the program. I will cover it from the very basic level to the advanced level. For that reason only, I have taken 18 classes here. For that reason only, we can extend the classes also. For that reason also, we can have more number of classes also if you wish. Don't worry. But we'll cover everything very, very comprehensively. In this phase only, I will be talking about the interlinkages. I will be telling you how you can link this particular concept to that concept, that this is how you should approach this topic. These are the different themes that are there. That is what we will study in these 18 classes. Not just syllabus, but interlinkages also. Clarity, with utmost PYQ. That is what you will be focusing. Okay. One important change that I am doing in this module. Okay, I will discuss about the change after some time, but you focus on this. That is phase 1. After phase 1, there will be some days of gap. As you can see, after 7 November, there is a gap. So the phase 2 of answer writing will start from 12th of November. You revise whatever we have discussed. After that, every day there will be test, 3 days a week. So weekly 3 mini tests will be there, and you have to attempt those tests. Without attempting those tests, you cannot hope for improvement. अगर आपको लगता है कि केवल वीडियो देखने से आंसर राइटिंग इंप्रूवमेंट हो जाएगी, मत करिएगा प्रोग्राम ज्वाइन. पैसे नहीं चाहिए भाई. ऐसे आंसर राइटिंग इंप्रूवमेंट होगा, आप 4 लोगों को बताओगे मुझे वो चाहिए. तो उसी के लिए आपको बोल रहा हूं कि ये सेक्शन ए की आंसर राइटिंग स्पेसिफिकली इंक्लूड कर रखी है मैंने. तो हर दिन 1 घंटे का टेस्ट है. फॉर एग्जांपल 2:30 to 3:30 देयर विल बी टेस्ट. 1 hour, it will have PYQ, it will have current affair themes. Okay, 80 number का पेपर होगा, 8 questions will be there, you need to write that. Immediately after the test, there will be discussion. Since you have written the test, you know certain things in your head, you have revised that. Immediately after that, I will discuss, and that is when it will hit you most, because now you have committed certain mistakes, and then I will tell you, this question you could have addressed in this fashion, you could have approached this question in that fashion. I will be teaching you various answer writing templates in these sessions only, talking about interlinkage and everything. So in section A, that is what we'll be focusing on: answer writing templates, breaking down the question, heading, subheading, how to express more with less, and everything. I will be giving you conclusion, keyword list also, different type of analytical diagrams I will be teaching you. In this phase, we'll be going a bit advanced, and all the focus will be on application. Section A answer writing. Similar thing will be done for case studies. Okay, same things. There will be total 9 sessions. 9 sessions will be there, 3 sessions per week, and same 1 test followed by discussion. First session will be orientation session for case study. So we'll have 9 sessions for the case study. By 12th December, everything will be done with answer writing practice. Can you see that? You have attempted 8 mini tests on case study and 6 on section A. There is 14 hours of answer writing, guided answer writing you have done. 14-hour answer writing is equivalent to 5 full-length tests. 5 into 3 is 15. So it is equivalent to 5 full-length tests. Can you imagine how much of answer writing you have done, how much of PYQ you have written? So that is how it will help you. I'll be talking about personal feedback after some point of time, so don't worry. So here, it is very, very important that you attempt the test first and then attend the discussion, because then you will learn more, because you have committed the mistake. I'll be talking about the templates, how to break down, how to think. That is one of the most common feedback that I get from the students, that you learn how to think. In these discussions, I'll be talking about that how we can use the phase 1 content that we have discussed in 18 classes, and how we can do the value addition, how we can talk about analytical diagrams. Everything will be done in these 14 classes. And after that, you have 2 full-length tests that will be evaluated. So you revise for 2 days, and then you give 14 and 28 December, you will have 2 full-length tests. Overall, approximately, you will be writing 7 full-length tests. That is more than enough answer writing for ethics. You need not do anything else, because if you do anything else, you will not be able to derive maximum value for this, my dear student. I just showed you that clip. Out of 13 questions, 12 questions you can solve from this module. So what is the need of following so many things? I am telling you, even if 7-8 questions are there, the game is about these 7-8 questions only. ठीक है, अगर आपके पास समय हो तो मुझे बताइएगा, मैं इसको एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा कि 7-8 क्वेश्चंस ही क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है, क्योंकि देखिए, कर दूंगा अगर आप मुझे थोड़ा 1-2 मिनट का समय दें. कर देता हूं. आई होप आप थोड़ा टाइम ज्यादा ले रहे हूं, बट मुझे लग रहा है इंपॉर्टेंट है. एटीट्यूड आपका थोड़ा शिफ्ट करेगा. देखिए, 13 क्वेश्चन है सेक्शन ए में. अब 13 क्वेश्चन, टाइम का क्रंच ऑलरेडी देयर इज टाइम क्रंच इज देयर. सो इफ यू अटेम्प्ट ऑल द 13 क्वेश्चन इन एवरेज फैशन, examiner will never know that you are an excellent candidate.
because you have not shown your depth, you have not shown your brilliance to the examiner. For that reason, it is important that you 7 to 8 question at least you should write in a fashion that you get 60 to 65% of the marks. So when you write most of the answers 7 to 8 or 9 questions like that, in a very excellent fashion, you will get 60-65% of the marks. Examiner will be very, very impressed that you are a candidate, you are the candidate, that should be rewarded with marks. Of course, you cannot do that for all the 13 questions because you have time crunch. So 7 to 8 question is what that matters. But how to get that kind of excellence 7 to 8 question? By repeated practice. So suppose you follow this module and you revise these questions only, you revise this content only, then my dear student, don't you think these 7 to 8 questions you will be in a position to write in a very, very excellent fashion? Just like I discussed, I just showed you that clip in which 12 questions came from 13 questions. I am saying forget 12. I think you can at least write 7 to 8 questions. You will get marks. Just multiply 8 questions or 9 questions by 6 marks. 60% marks. It is 54 marks already out of 80 marks. Just imagine, just double that for case study also. Already you have scored 100 marks, 110 marks. In rest of the 70-80 marks, you need to score only 20 marks. Only 35% of the marks you need to get. Do this calculation and you will understand that why it is not about all around brilliance, why it is brilliance, why you need to brilliant in majority of the questions, and then just complete the paper and you will get marks. But to be brilliant in those questions, you must do limited thing, but in an excellent fashion. Again and again, those themes again and again, automatically you will get very good marks because those questions you will hit straight out of park. That is why 7 full-length test worth of answer writing you are doing, and I think that is how you improve. See, why I do not conduct ethics test series per se is because of that, because improvement takes time. If I give you, let's say, 7 full-length tests, they will not have the same impact that these 14 sessions will have, because when you write one test and then you listen to the discussion, you will understand mistake. Next day you come, this mistake I will not commit, you will improve. Further you will improve. This cycle of improvement will be repeated over 14 times. 14 times, 14 sessions, 6 in section A, 8 in case study, 14 times, and then 2 full-length tests. So 16 times you will be learning your mistakes. It cannot be replaced by only test series. That is the reason I follow this methodology in which every day you are writing, every day you are listening to a discussion, every day you are finding mistakes in your answer writing, and every day you are improving. And when you follow that with utmost conviction, discipline, I am very sure you will improve like anything in the answer writing. That is the methodology, my dear student, that I am speaking. Focus. Understood? So this is something that I will be covering. As you can see on the left side, these are the clipping from current affair. I will be showing you various clipping from current affairs so that you can have very, very relevant current affair examples in the answer that will differentiate the answers also. And you will also learn how to gather these examples on your own also, because I will ask you that which of the ethical values we can relate to that, where we can use this example. Understood? Tourism Ministry not utilizing funds, a question on underutilization of fund was there. I think you can relate how brilliantly people would have written the answer to this question because they had very good case studies prepared. On the right hand side, you can see very good case study from different states. Best practices. So basically the best practices, the important codes, and the current affair example will be the value addition that we will be using in our answers. Similarly, on the left hand side, you can see a ready-made template, a conclusion list that I will be providing you, and you can basically use this conclusion list to end your answer on a high note. So the ready-made template for conclusion will be provided on the left hand side. On the right hand side, you can see, this is what I want you to understand also, that how this is screenshot from the PPTs only. Okay, I have taken screenshot from the PPTs just to show you. Right hand side, as you can see, how I have discussed essay topics as well, because I believe there's a great degree of overlap between ethics and essay. So when you prepare ethics well, automatically essay will also be strengthened, and that is why I discuss the relevant essay themes also when I am discussing the ethics topics, when I'm discussing the ethical concepts, and if I find them very, very relevant to the PYQ of the essay, they will also be discussed. As you can see, so many essay PYQ we have discussed. It's just one of the example. We'll discuss more such examples in the actual classes. So basically, you are not just preparing ethics, you are also doing solid groundwork for the essay as well. Okay, so that is how it will help you. Now let us talk about the important changes. As you have seen in here earlier, this is what I used to follow, that there will be dedicated windows for answer writing, that is phase 2 and phase 3. But there is one limitation in that. The limitation is that usually these 6 section tests are of very good quality. Now all the questions that I choose are of very good quality. They are more analytical questions, because of which the people who are beginning in ethics answer writing, they may find it difficult to write the answers at such level. So for them, the change that I am making this year is based on your recommendations only, is in the 18th classes, the phase 1, I will be giving you certain questions every day. Let's say I completed certain topics, so some of the descriptive questions I will be giving you, so that you do not start your answer writing with difficult question. Slowly we will be building the answer writing base, and then by the time the phase 2 start, you will be very good with answer writing techniques. So that is what we will be doing. In 18th lecture, I will be giving you PYQs based on what we discuss on the lectures, so that you can solve them on your own and write them. And then some of the things we can discuss in the class also. So it will also multiply the learning in terms of answer writing. So the beginners also, it will help very much. So that is a change I have done. So answer writing will happen not just in phase 2 and phase 3, but in phase 1 also. Although it is not advertised like that, but it will happen. After every class, we will be solving the PYQs for the people who are beginners in ethics. And so by the time 18 classes, they will be very much ready for the phase 2. Now another important thing is online students. What about online students? See, offline students have access to me. Immediately after the class, they can show their answers. I will be making a separate Telegram group also, where I update my availability in the institute. You can come and show me your answers of mini test, not from any other institute, from the mini test, from the module only. Okay, I will see those answers and I will give you feedback. But that sort of thing was not possible for online students. I was doing that, but not at a very grand scale. So this time what I am doing, I will be having some group Zoom sessions, in which certain number of students, 5-6 students collectively I will be sitting with, and I will be discussing their answers in that group Zoom session. So now online students will also get personal feedback, of course, on first come first serve basis. You need to understand, I will be making some groups. You need to attend those group Zoom sessions. They will be over and above these mini test discussion. It will like this only. I'll be showing you your answer script, 5-7 people discussing their answers. I'll be talking about the lessons that you can learn from those answers, how you can improve them, basically personal feedback. So for online students also, I will try my level best to give personal feedback. Offline students, of course, immediately after the class we can have, and more number of sessions we can have. Online students also, multiple Zoom sessions I will have. I've written that is how online students will get their feedback. Dedicated group Zoom sessions will be there on first come first serve basis. Of course, for that we have limited seats. I'll be removing this feature very soon from the features of the program, because of the limited seats. And this line, the last line that I have written is, it will be the responsibility of the student to get their answers reviewed through the mechanism communicated during the course only on first come first serve basis. Because what happened in the course, I will be telling you that you fill this form. Based on that form, I will be making the groups. I will be clubbing the students in different groups, and then I will be checking your answers online. So it will be your responsibility to fill the form, because I keep on sending mails, but you don't at times respond. For that reason, I've written this line. It will be your responsibility to follow the mechanism. It will be my endeavor to see your answers. You see, as compared to between prelims and mains, I have more time relatively in this phase. So we have October, we have November, December, even January also, if you wish, for the feedback. So we have lot of time for one-to-one feedback, and I will try my level best to give you feedback on first come first serve basis. It will be your hard work, your sincerity, and I will try to match it by my own dedication. So that is what about the module. Okay, so is there any other question that you want me to address? I will address it now. Please ask any question. Just write in the chat box. I will try to address that. See, I don't expect that you understand ethics beforehand. courses at foundation level, basic to advanced, but I expect that you understand other GS subject like polity. I will not be talking about parliament. I will presume that you know parliament. I will presume that you know fundamental right. I will presume that you know DPSP. So that much understanding I need. Polity, economy, basic understanding. Ethics, no understanding, absolutely fine. I will build that. That is my responsibility. And nothing else is required, okay, apart from this. Chetan, you can revise till that point of time, wait for the result, then perhaps we can decide. Yes, offline students will get online access. Yes. Yes, there will be batch between prelims and mains, but because between prelims and mains, there are few factors that you need to understand. First is that you are already grappling with so many subjects during that window. So if your answer writing is not up to that level, it may be difficult for you to improve your answers in limited amount of time. That much of rigorous practice, 14 sessions, you might not be able to follow. At this point of time, it may look easy to you, but then you might not be able to follow. खुद ही सोचिए ना, अभी टाइम नहीं है तब कहाँ से निकलेगा? तब तो ऑप्शनल भी करना होता है, ऐसे भी करना होता है, 3 जीएस पेपर और भी करने होते हैं, आंसर राइटिंग करना होता है। तो और दूसरा, मेरे पास समय थोड़ा इस समय ज्यादा होता है पर्सनल इंटरेक्शन के लिए। तो ये 2 फैक्टर है जो आप कंसीडर कर सकते हैं। बट यस, बैच तो होगा प्रीलिम्स और मेंस के बीच में भी। सो आपकी इच्छा है जब आपको ज्वाइन करना हो। So after prelims, those who subscribe to this batch, prelims होने के बाद जो लोग मेंस लिखेंगे उनके लिए कुछ सेशंस लूंगा मैं, स्पेशली रिवीजन सेशन। ठीक है, जो मेंस लिखेंगे उनके लिए रहेगा। आपको रजिस्टर करना होगा बिकॉज आई नीड टू सी द प्रीलिम्स रिजल्ट। तो नंबर मुझे चाहिए होंगे, रोल नंबर फ्री रहेगा, लिखा हुआ है वेबसाइट पे, आप देख लीजिए, फ्री एक्सेस रहेगी कुछ सेशंस के लिए। तो वो मैं करूंगा। प्रीलिम्स के बाद रिवीजन सेशन का एक्सेस आपको रहेगा, जो मैं मेंस के पहले कराता हूँ, वो आपको देंगे। पर उसके लिए लगेगा रजिस्ट्रेशन, फ्री रजिस्ट्रेशन, पर वो होगा। One problem is, Nikita, it depends ki how much improvement is needed. If more improvement is needed, that may not be possible between prelims and mains window. Okay, so especially people who are, you join now, you have a lot of time, October, November, December, to understand, to apply, to practice, and then you can revise also, and then you can revise this entire thing between prelims and mains. But if you learn it between prelims and mains only, where is the time to revise? And if suppose more improvement is needed, then you may not have enough time also. So you need to understand that. There will not be any other marks improvement batch. Okay, that is the only batch that I am having after prelims. See, more number of batches I will not be having. I will be rather focusing on giving personal feedback. That is what I will be having. Marks improvement batch, this is the only batch before prelims. After prelims, there will be another batch. Thank you, Shubham. Thank you. Any other doubt that you are having, please ask. Content is not that important. Important is clarity, application, focus more. You go through any good content, any content that you find good, focus on application. Those who already completed course, you please revise all the mini test. I think आपको तो सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस पता है मॉड्यूल की, आपने देखा इस साल का एथिक्स पेपर, so many questions came from our module, तो आपको तो चिंता ही नहीं करनी, आप सिंपल उसको रिवाइज करिए, प्रैक्टिस करिए, बार-बार प्रैक्टिस करिए। यहाँ पे 2 तरह के बच्चे, मैं आपको बताता हूँ। देखिए, जो बच्चे पहले कर चुके होते हैं, तो 2 तरह के बच्चे होते हैं। एक है कि जो सफिशिएंट इंप्रूवमेंट कर चुके हैं और दे आर नाउ वेरी मच रेडी फॉर द नेक्स्ट मेन। सो उसके लिए तो आप खुद से तैयारी करिए, खुद से रिवाइज करिए, यू हैव डन ऑल द हार्ड वर्क, तो बार-बार मिनी टेस्ट को रिवाइज करिए, प्रैक्टिस करिए। कुछ बच्चे होते हैं जो प्रोग्राम को उतना अच्छा यूटिलाइज नहीं कर पाते हैं. बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रीजन आई सी मैनी स्टूडेंट्स हु जॉइन द प्रोग्राम अगेन. सो डिपेंड्स अपॉन यू बेसिकली कि यू आर इन विच कैटेगरी. अगर आपने प्रोग्राम का फुल बेनिफिट ले लिया है तो क्या जरूरत है, तो आप रिवाइज करिए, प्रैक्टिस करिए खुद से. और आपको लगता है कि गैप है या आपको आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस चाहिए तो आंसर राइटिंग वाला कंपोनेंट कर लीजिएगा. प्रीलिम्स के बाद तो आएगा ही, तब कर लीजिएगा. केस स्टडी स्पेसिफिक सेशंस होंगे सिद्धांत. फर्स्ट सेशन एक ओरिएंटेशन सेशन रहेगा और फिर टेस्ट के थ्रू मैं पढ़ाऊंगा डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ केस स्टडी. डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ केस स्टडी आई विल बी टीचिंग यू. इट विल बी डन. Recorded students will be available. Yes, recorded sessions will be available, not students. Recorded sessions will be available. Yes. Any other doubt? यार कोर्स में एनरोल नहीं है तो डिफिकल्ट है मेरे लिए शेयर करना नोट्स वगैरह. तो आप से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप खुद से मेहनत करिए, थोड़ा पीवाईक्यू को फोकस करिए. मेरे यूट्यूब पे काफ़ी सारे वीडियोस पड़े हुए हैं, उनको आप देख सकते हैं, वहाँ से कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा. खुद से आप वैसे भी कर सकते हैं. टेलीग्राम पे फॉलो करिए, वहाँ पे भी आपको काफ़ी चीज़ें सीखने को मिलेंगी. कोई डाउट है तो पूछ लीजिए. आई होप द सेशन वाज हेल्पफुल टू यू. आई प्रिज्यूम दैट. आंसर राइटिंग प्रोग्राम एक तो प्रीलिम्स के बाद आएगा. दूसरा आई नीड टू सी नवंबर. मार्क्स इंप्रूवमेंट दोबारा नहीं आएगा, मार्क्स इंप्रूवमेंट अभी आ रहा है. आंसर राइटिंग का आई नीड टू सी. कोर्स नहीं ले पा रहे हैं तो जो बताया गया है उसको फॉलो करिए नमन जी, कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है. पीवाईक्यू से फोकस करिए. सेपरेट आंसर राइटिंग प्रोग्राम इट मे बी पॉसिबल, मे नॉट बी पॉसिबल. मार्क्स इंप्रूवमेंट प्रोग्राम नहीं होगा इसके अलावा. जो लोग आंसर राइटिंग का पूछ रहे हैं उसमें इस बार कुछ मैं एलिजिबिलिटी लगाऊंगा. बिकॉज व्हाट हैपन इज कि हम सबको लगता है कि आंसर राइटिंग में प्रॉब्लम है, बट प्रॉब्लम होती है क्लैरिटी में, कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी में, और उसकी वजह से आंसर राइटिंग नहीं होती है. Nikita, I will not able to comment on that. Any other doubt? Okay then. In Vajiram, I take essay and rankers program and step up mentorship. There is not a separate program for essay by me. It is taken by Prajendra sir. But step up mentorship and rankers program, I take essay. अच्छा, जो लोग मिलना चाहते हैं ना वो आई थिंक वेडनेसडे को बैच स्टार्ट हो रहा है. तो जो ऑफलाइन मिलना चाहते हैं यू कैन कम एंड मीट मी एट 5 PM न्यू बिल्डिंग वाजीराम एंड रवि. ठीक है, 5 PM वेडनेसडे 5 PM 2:30 to 5 there will be class. After 5 we can meet. I will be there only, so you can meet 5 PM जो लोग ऑफलाइन मिलना चाह रहे हैं. ओके देन आई थिंक दैट विल बी ऑल. काफी अच्छा लगा यार, बहुत दिनों बाद इंटरेक्शन हुआ. कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं इस तरह के थोड़े इनफॉर्मल इंटरेक्शन भी करूं आप लोगों से, जो रिकॉर्ड नहीं हो, यूट्यूब पे नहीं हो, ताकि आप लोग भी खुल के बोल पाओ. कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं जल्दी वैसा कुछ इंटरेक्शन करूं आपसे. कुछ और भी डाउट्स आपके हो सकता है हों, ठीक है, अगर आपकी इच्छा होगी तो मैं कोशिश करूंगा वैसा ले पाएंगे. आप पार्टिसिपेशन दिखाएंगे तो कोशिश करेंगे कि इस तरह का. हैंड आउट बिल्कुल सफिशिएंट नहीं है राहुल जी. इनफैक्ट मैनी ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट आई टीच इन माय क्लास purposefully I do not give them in handouts. Rahul, handouts I do not cover all the things in handouts because हैंडआउट देने में प्रॉब्लम ये होती है ना, बच्चों का कंटेंट ही काफी है, बस घर ले जाकर क्लास नहीं आएगा तो समझेगा नहीं एप्लीकेशन कैसे करना है, क्वेश्चन समझ में नहीं आएगा. तो मेरे लिए वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्वेश्चन समझ में और अच्छा आंसर लिखो. वो पर्पसफुली मैंने कुछ लिमिटेशंस है मेरे कोर्स के जो मैंने कर रखे हैं, उसका वन ऑफ द रीजन यही है. कंटेंट केवल देने से परेशानी हो जाती है कि बच्चा फिर क्लास में लिखने नहीं आता है, उसको लगता है हैंडआउट मिल गया काम हो गया. मैं चाहता हूँ आप आएँ, लिखें, समझें, सीखें. समझ में आ गया राहुल जी? तो फिर क्या परेशानी है, फिर तो रिवाइज करो, प्रैक्टिस करिए। ठीक है देन, ओके देन, बाय बाय, टेक केयर। आई थिंक दैट विल बी ऑल। इसको कहाँ से एंड करेंगे, आई नीड टू सी दैट।